Hello everyone, it's a snow day here, so I'm going to do some scrapbooking. I'm actually going to do some pocket scrapbooking or project life. Oh, wait a second, one of these things does not belong. That is from a couple of weeks ago. So all of these other photos are from the past several days. I have all of my photos already printed out. I print them up on my Picture Mate charm, my Epsom Picture Mate charm, and I've been storing my Project Life supplies. I've really pared them down. I got rid of all of my Becky Higgins Project Life brand cards because I didn't care for the rounded corners. What I have here is a combination of Kelly Perky kits and some Studio Calico kits. And the ones that are stored kind of wonky over there on the left, those are kits that are still in their kit format. So they're still together with their letters and labels and the stickers that go along with them. And then over to the other side, my cards are all sorted by color and slightly by theme. So I'm just going through my Project Life supplies here, or my pocket page supplies, and I'm picking out the November Studio Calico kit. Because I really like, first of all, there's like a sunrisey type of a tag on the embellishments, and I just find that the colors coordinate and there's a bit of a home theme to them, and we were doing a home renovation project this past weekend, so I wanted to document that, so that's what I have there. I just keep my supplies in a Creative Memories medium-sized storage container. I don't know if they still have those. I'm going to also use this paint chip as one of my supplies today because I have a little bit of a story to tell about it, and I just pop that Creative Memories bin in the top of my Razzcog that I use for my Project Life supplies now. So I'm just familiarizing myself with the cards in this kit. And I may have a few things from a few other kits. Stuff got a little bit mixed up when I was moving it from one way of storing it to another. So this is mostly, I think, the November kit from Studio Calico. So I'm just, as I said, familiarizing myself with the cards and picking out anything that either thematically or print-wise I think is going to coordinate with my photos that I already have and the stories that I plan to tell. So as you see, I had that little bin that I'm just putting my supplies in just to see if that works as a little bin to hold things together so they don't get lost on my table. I have this piece of wide ribbon that came from a pair of pajamas that I got for Christmas, and I'm trying to use things up, but if I don't use it right away, I'm just going to throw it away. So I used to hang on to tons of stuff for Project Life, and I just don't have the either the mental bandwidth or the space to hold on to stuff like that anymore. So these are my Project Life templates, and I have them done up. I just used a ruler and a marker to draw out a design A. And of course, if you turn it on its side, it's the other one. I forget, design D or E, or I don't know what it is, H. I don't know. Anyhow, I'm going to, this paint chip cuts down perfectly so that I can have just those bottom two colors. And as you can see, I have my photos printed at a couple of different sizes. I try to keep my photo sizes pretty standard to make it easier for me to design with. So I print at either 4x6 or 3x4 or 2x2. The other size that I sometimes use is almost 3x1.8. That's a kind of a funny size, but that allows me to put a horizontal photo on a 3x4 vertical card. So those are all the sizes of cards that you'll see. And now what I'm doing is I'm basically just spreading these photos around the layout to try to balance off. Basically, I'm trying to balance the photos and also try to keep the story in a relatively chronological. I'm not too careful about things being perfectly chronological, but especially in the case of a renovation, I don't want it to be too out of order or it looks weird. Just visually when you're telling the story, for the photos of it almost done to be before the photos of it, taken apart. So I'm just picking out supplies from the kit. As I said, I want to use these tags. I love that they're gray and they bring in some pink, and basically those tags are what I based my color scheme on. They were gray and pink, and the room is gray. And I also have I'm trying to pull in some warm colors because I have that sunset photo as well. So that multicolored 4x6 card up in the top I guess it's the left-hand corner of the second page, brings in a bunch of other colors, and then I just go with those as my secondary colors. Now, I did need a couple more 4x6 pieces, and so I wanted some colors, so I went to my pink supplies, and look, there's a Hello January, and this is January. And I also went to my green because those were two colors that kind of stood out in the page. I have a photo of some fish that has a lot of green in it, and then there's also another green card in there that's like a really dark green. I'm just familiarizing myself with what gray and black and white cards I have, just in case I have to draw from those. And I also grabbed a paper bag. These are what the Kelly Perky kits used to come in, and a couple of Studio Calico kits have come in those as well. So I like using those for layers in my scrapbook pages, but I also like to use them for 4x6 cards in my project life. So I'm going to use my trimmer. Yes, I got a new trimmer, and I will talk about that in another video, but I'm just using this trimmer to trim down this paper bag into a 4x6 piece, and of course then I get two of them. So I'm going to use both of them on my page, and just that allows me to bring in a little bit more of that warm brown color, and that kind of, again, it draws from that orange in the sunrise in the top photo there, and it allows me to kind of just spread the craft paper bag type of paper into more than one place on the page. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use the pink ribbon here. And that pink ribbon is very similar to the other pinks that are in this kit. And this is a card, that wood grain that I put under the paint chip is a random card. I don't know what brand it's from, but I think it's a scrap from a scrapbooking supply. It's not even Project Life, I don't think. So here I feel like I have a little bit of green on both sides of my page, and I have some multicolor on both sides of my page, and I have lots of gray everywhere, and I have enough of the brown and wood grain to just kind of, also spread that around the page a little bit. So I'm almost to the point where I'm ready to actually start scrapbooking, but for some reason, I decide I'm going to do a little bit of embellishing, even though I'm not quite. I usually wait for the embellishing for the very end, but I just had a couple of ideas of what I wanted to do with some of those chipboard pieces that came in the kit, and so I put them out where I thought they might belong. I grabbed the green 3x4 cards, and I'm just looking for some ways to pull a little bit more green over to the side. Now, this isn't exactly the same color green as on that card with all the words on it. It says a house is made of walls and beams, and then there's more to it. This other green is a more yellowy, warmy green than that other one. It's almost like a bluey green, very, very dark. But I'm going to be using so little of this green over here and they're far enough away from each other that I think it's going to work out okay. This little arrow says fin on it, and that in French, I believe, means the end or finish. And so I'm going to use that to point to all of the carpet supplies that were left over at the end of our project. That's the old carpet that we had to pull out. And whenever I put back a piece of chipboard, I just use a little piece of washi tape to hold it in place so that my chipboard pieces don't get all kind of battered and falling apart. So now I think I'm finally ready to start scrapbooking. And oops, I've remembered that I felt like I needed one more photo. I didn't really need this. It wasn't like this page was missing this particular photo as much as I liked the way everything was. I just wished that there was a photo down in the bottom line of this left-hand page. So I just went and saw what other photos I had and printed up one that I thought would work well. And that was a panoramic, and I just printed it at 1 inch height, and then 2.8 inches width, so that it would fit on a 3x4 card. So now I had a bunch of Kelly Perky stamps from over the years, and I have a couple of home sets. The ones I'm going to be drawing from are Kelly Purkey's MySpace and Kelly Purkey's Good Times, although I don't think I actually used that one, and also the Kelly Purkey Home Sweet Home set. And I also have these Studio L2E stamps that are basically kind of like some swear words and like a bad day stamp set. There's 2 stamp sets there. They came separately, one small and one larger, and I'm going to do those 2 because they have lots of the word crap on them, and there is some crap in my story. Quite literally. So here we go. I just got to jump in and get started. I'm going to put this beautiful gray label sticker from Kelly Purkey that came in one of the kits from probably 2017. And I am using my new favorite marker. It's the Mono Twin marker by Tombow, and I just love how dark it is. So I'm doing my journaling on there. It just says sunrise over Sunnyside, worked December 27th, 19. And it's not technically part of this week, but I don't really care. I just wanted to make sure that photo got in my project because I really like it. It's the view from my window most mornings when it's not too cloudy. Now I'm using this other piece of the paper bag to, I'm kind of using that green striped paper that I'm pretty sure is a Kelly Purkey card from some other kit. And I'm outlining around it to give it a little bit more definition. And I really like how this looks. I like that you can see the lines through the paper bag. And I'm also going to outline around the outside edges of this really beautiful tag that came in the Studio Calico kit. Again, most of this kit is from the November Studio Calico kit. So I'm outlining, and then I decided I really would like to have a little reinforcer on this tag. I really like my tags to have reinforcers on them. And so I'm going to use this. This is the Lawn Fawn. It is called the Tag Your It die, and I really use it for the reinforcers more than I use it for the tags. And I really love how these reinforcers look made out of paper bag. So I'm going to use that. And now you're going to see something kind of weird. It looks like I have a needle here. This is actually, I've got a sick cat, and the medicine came all preloaded in these little syringes, and I just didn't want, we've got like dozens of them, and I did not want to throw them away. So I thought I'd preload a couple of them with glue and just see how it goes. What's in that is a Ranger Multimedia Matte glue, and so I just thought I'd give it a try. I didn't love it. I might like it for a bigger, like it might be good for using on a really big die, like a die cut piece that's very intricate. But just for such a tiny little use, I don't think it didn't really quite work any better than the bottle that the stuff comes in. So I didn't want to have frayed edges on the sides here, so I just decided to wrap this around at the last minute. I would have made that strip longer if I knew I was going to do that, but I didn't, so there you go. Now this is a picture of our little baby guppies. We have 15 baby guppies here, and I just had to check the dates and the ages of the fish at that point. So my journaling here is going to say, baby guppies born December 12th, exclamation point. Here they are at 22 days old, enjoying their first cucumber treat. So adorable. And I added the word so adorable basically just to fill up space. They are adorable though. Sometimes I word things based on the amount of space I want to fill up. And that's an example of one of those times. So I like how that looks. The string that I used on that tag was some lawn fawn, lawn trimmings, I think they're called. Now this is a photo out my kitchen window on the day that it was snowing. It was the day that we did our renovations as well. And I really love this stamp. It says, let me find it. Where is it? What does it say? It says, the view outside of my window. It's again one of those Kelly Purkey from the home. I think that's from the Home Sweet Home one. Yeah, no, it's from MySpace. And then on the tag there, that's a chipboard tag, I'm going to stamp I Love Coming Home, which is another Kelly Purkey stamp. That one is from the Home Sweet Home stamp set. So I am using my Mini Misty for this. And I think I'm using VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And now I'm just going to use the same ink with this other stamp. This again is the view from my window, and I'm just stamping it so that Santa's head is just nestled in there. And that Santa and Frosty are from a story that I hope to go back and tell from the couple of days before this. And so I do have a half of a page, like I guess a full single-sided page protector on the other side of this. This is the first page in this album, so this will be my 2020 maybe Project Life-ish or maybe mixed album. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to gather up all those stamps and put them aside so that they don't get in my way anymore. I might come back to them later. And now this piece of chipboard I picked out right at the beginning. It says it's all about the little things, and those little things are pretty cute. And they'll be hopefully recognized from the story that I will have told on the other side of the page. So there's that. And that page is, this page is really coming along quite quickly. All of these cards are pretty minimal. Like that first one with the ribbon and the paper bag and the tag was a little more elaborate than the others, but everything else is pretty plain and simple. I want to use a tone-on-tone here for this pink and make it into a journaling card. So I'm going to use that today's gratitude list just for the background. I'm basically just using the edge of it. And then I've cut down that other one. I took off about 1/4 of an inch on 2 adjacent sides. And that gives me this. And now I was about to do my journaling lines when I realized that I have this journaling template, and I didn't think I could find it. I've actually found it surprisingly quickly. And I love using this thing for journaling lines, so I thought I might as well use it. So it's from Hot Off the Press. It's a very old scrapbook supply. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to find it or buy it anymore, but if you ever see one at I don't know, like any kind of clearance or a scrappy kind of yard sale or something like that, pick it up, because this is one of my favorite old school supplies that I just keep coming back to throughout my scrapbooking career. I go through phases where I kind of forget about it and don't use it for a while, but I always come back to it. It's really fun to use, especially for like journaling circles or funny shaped journaling. It's especially helpful for that, because I mean, these lines I could have done with a ruler. It's certainly a lot faster to just trace it the way I did though. So this journaling says, Rocky had another bout of diarrhea on Friday, January 3rd, this time in Sophie's room. Poor guy is okay, but Sophie's carpet has got to go. We were going to update her room this spring anyhow. And obviously I didn't quite get to writing all of that yet, but then I decided to pick out that crappiness right here stamp and I decided to change the orders of these so that that stamp could be stamped above the cat and pointing towards the journaling. And so again, that is one of those Studio L2E stamps. I'm just going to put a little bit of a caption here. It says, all clean after a bath. And that's a picture of Rocky, and he looks all prickly. It's because his fur is wet. He was a good sport. He didn't mind the bath quite so much. Now this stamp is not sticking to my Misty. It doesn't stick to blocks either. So I just put I ran some temporary adhesive on it just to make it sticky again. And thank goodness I was using the Misty, because that didn't stamp very well, and I did need to double stamp it. I just have my Lawn Fawn stamp chamois that I'm using for cleaning out my stamps. And I'm sorry that you can't see everything that I'm doing here, but yeah, there you go. Now you can see it again. That ribbon was not staying put. Remember, I wrapped it around, and I would have left it longer if I knew, but anyhow, I just stapled it so that it would stay put. Now I'm just going to adhere this little tag in the center of this really pretty leaf pattern. The leaf pattern picks up on the leaves in the aquarium shot right above it. Moving on, this page came together so much quicker than the second page, as you will come to see. So I was about to hand journal again, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to write these. I'm just going to use these lines since I have this template already out and everything. And the template itself has a grid on it, so it makes it so easy to just line it all up with the card, with the edges of the card. This says, luckily we had the time and the funds to just upgrade her room now, although it wasn't how we planned to spend our last weekend off. So here I ran out of space, but I don't plan my journaling in Project Life. I just kind of wing it, and I compose it as I go, and I knew I had room for another line, so that's why I composed it the way I did. So I really like how that card has the wood grain on it that picks up on the wood grain that's going to come later. There's wood grain all over this page. Here's another piece of it right here behind the paint chip. And yeah, that picks up on the flooring that comes on the second page. So I just want something white behind these two. I want these two to be the main design on this page, in this pocket, but I also don't want whatever's going to show from the card behind to show behind, just in case it's distracting or something. So I'm going to back the whole thing on the back side of that grid card. There we go. And I can't remember if I do that journaling now. It looks like I'm going to do it now. So I have a bit of a story to tell. So the name, I'm just going to look through my arrow supply. I've got these stickers, and then I also have these little arrow. I have a whole box of arrow die cuts. So you'll see me audition a couple here. But the story here is that the paint color that we got to paint Sophie's room is actually called Siamese Cat, which is the whole reason we're painting her room, is because the Siamese cat pooped all over the place, and it was so bad in the carpet that we did clean it up, but I didn't even think of having a steam cleaner because it just felt like it was never ever going to be clean to the point that I would feel comfortable letting my daughter live in that room. So it was also kind of, I'm not even going to talk about it. Anyhow, the carpet had to go. So I thought that it was just kind of hilarious. And so I'm doing a little bit of journaling here that basically says I needed to kind of use that arrow, and the arrow is peeling up. It's like a rubber puffy sticker, and the edges are just peeling up on it, which is a little annoying, but I used some extra glue and it's down there now. My journaling is going to say, when your paint is named after the very reason you're painting. And I wanted it to look kind of casual, like I just jotted it down. So I'm therefore going to go through this lengthy process of putting lines in to make it look like I just jotted it down. Sorry about those dings. I turned off my ringer, so hopefully that won't happen anymore. I'm using that same Tombow Mono Twin pen. It has a thick side on one end and a more kind of fine line on the other end, and I'm using the fine one right now. When your paint is named after the very reason you're painting. And rather than run the risk of erasing over that marker and potentially smearing what I just wrote, I just decided to underline along those lines that I had already drawn in pencil so that the pencil is hidden by the marker. I just used a more fine point marker for that though. It just needs a little something, so I'm looking at what else I might be able to put here. Checked out a stamp set. This is one of those chipboard stickers from the set that came in the kit, just that little tiny little sheet of chipboard. And if I can use it, that'd be great because it brings that rainbow, kind of those lines of color over onto this page. I already have those colors in that card right next to it, the circular one. But here's a still shot of that first page done. As you see, I just added that little semicircle, and I'll come back and do a little bit more embellishing, but that's basically that page is done. So now I'm just going to start chipping away at this other page. I want to mat this photo with this star navy blue paper. This is a Fisker's little guillotine trimmer, and this one is from Creative Memories. I don't know if you can probably buy it by its like under its own name as well. I mean, that is under its own name. Basically, I don't know where else you can get it, but I do know that you can get it at Creative Memories, and they gave that to me. It was very kind of them to do that. So I'm just matting that. I was going to mat it on the green card, but it became pretty obvious that that green card wasn't going to work for matting purposes. It had too much other stuff on it. So I'm matting it on this black card instead. I like how that looks anyways. I prefer the color of this, of the black. And now I need something to journal on, and I'd rather not just journal on the lines of the background card. So what I decided to do was use this. This is something that I had cut already. It had Hello January on it, and I cut out Hello January. I think I might have done that off screen, but I'm left with these little scraps of pink that I thought I would use, and here I am using them. Decided to outline just to give it a little bit more definition. I'm going to mount it onto my background, and then that gives me some space right here to do some journaling. I'm going to write, the mural Jen painted in 2007 will sadly be covered, but Soph is excited to be getting a more grown-up room. And I did some outlining right on the photo with the bold tip of that mono twin marker. Like that a lot. And now this was another thing that I had picked right at the very beginning, was to put this chipboard piece. It says together is better. Of course, doing any project together is better than doing it alone because it gets done all the faster. Now I realized that I probably should have just made 3 of these little paper bag reinforcers when I made the first one. So here I am gonna just make 2 more. And this little die cut machine you might not recognize because they don't make it anymore. It's a Cuddle Kids. So it's made by Provocraft, which is the company that makes Cricut. And they also make the Cuttlebug. And this was a little child version of the Cuttlebug that I actually had 2 of these, and I gave one to somebody. I can't remember who. I think I gave it to Sheila. Maybe I didn't. I can't remember who I gave it to. I'm using Tombow Mono multi-adhesive here to adhere those reinforcers on the tags. Look at how much more finished they look with those reinforcers. Every company who sells tags should just put the darn reinforcers on the things when they sell them, because we all love reinforcers on our tags. I think I can speak for us all. Okay, so here we go with more of this journaling template. I'm really loving this journaling template today, obviously. I had to just pull off the temporary adhesive. I just put temporary adhesive behind it so that it wouldn't move around when I was doing my journaling. What I'm writing on this is, if we have to replace the floor, we might as well paint too. Soph picked the same gray we used in the hangout room, and she helped paint the walls. And this I originally designed so that it could be pulled out, but I'm going to adhere it onto the back because I thought I might need some extra space for some additional journaling, but I don't need it, so I'm not going to make the card that way. It'll still stick out, and it is important when you are designing something that can stick out of a page that you make sure that it's going to wind up on your right-facing page, not on the left-facing page, because your pockets open on the right side, and the pockets on the left side are on the opposite side of that sheet, so you wouldn't be able to have it stick out on this side. So here I am again looking at those home stamps by Kelly Purkey and trying to decide which stamp I'm going to use. I definitely want to stamp something on this beautiful wood grain background paper that I'm using for this. It's not exactly the same color as her floor. Her floor is a lot more chocolate brown than this, but it's very nice. I like it a lot. So I thought I would use one of these brighter colored inks, these Brilliance inks. I haven't used these a whole lot. I bought them a while ago, and then I just kind of fell out of scrapbooking. Before I use them, I just want to check and see how it's going to show up on my page. So it's not the exact same, but I have another wood grain here, and the gold is not going to show up very well. I might need to re-ink that gold as well, but it's just not going to show up. Once I stamp this one, it's clear that this one is going to work a lot better. This is called Moonlight. Let me check and see what it's called. By Brilliance. Whoops. Sorry about that. It's by Brilliance, and it's called Moonlight White. I hope that wasn't too loud for you guys in your ears. As you can see, using the MISTI to be able to double stamp is really helpful, especially when you're not sure how inky your stamp pads are and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to line up this. So this stamp says in the, and then there's a spot for you to fill in a variety of different words, and they have different household words like bedroom, dining room, living room, garage, and I'm using the word bedroom here. Again, just using my stamp chamois to clean that up. And that is a type of a pigment ink, and it's much more messy to clean up than dye ink, just so that you're forewarned about that. Wow, we're almost done. It took me so long to finalize and embellish this page, and that's why this video is so long. Yeah, it must be because I just haven't scrapbooked for so long that I'm out of the groove, but this one took a long time for me to feel like I was satisfied with it. I just want to use another stamp here, and I've decided to go with this Life is Messy stamp from the Studio L2E stamp set that has the swear words on it. I don't use a whole lot of swear words, but it's still, I like having that stamp set. I do draw from it every once in a while. I'm not against using swear words. It's not the way that I communicate very often. And I find that your swear words are actually, they have a lot more impact when you don't say it very often. When I drop an F-bomb, let me tell you, everybody sits up and listens. Yeah, so that's a little info about me. So I'm using that same Moonlight White ink by Brilliance. I really look at how beautiful that looks on a photo. So nice. I'm double stamping, which makes my MISTI so helpful. I really love having a stamping platform. I have a couple of them and I really love using them. I use them constantly now. So I'm just going to, it felt a little bland to me, and so I decided to do some outlining here around this blue tag, and that just helps to balance more. It wasn't so much the blandness as much as it was that photo felt really weighty on that such a light tag and then the light pattern paper behind the tag. So adding some outlining just put some weight on the tag. Now here I have a photo of my messy mudroom with all of the carpet remnants and underlay remnants all over the place. And what I'd like to do is put a label on this photo and put a phrase on it. And so what I'm going to stamp here is that did not just happen. Because I kind of can't believe that we just, like, on the spur of the moment decided to tear out her card. I mean, we kind of had to, but you know, like normally we plan these renovation projects and we plan a budget and we wait and then we get the supplies and we have to book the time off and make sure that, you know, the kids are occupied. And here we just were like, oh, I guess the carpet's coming up. And we just went to the hardware store and got some flooring and just got her done. So yeah, that I really cannot believe that just happened. I love those gray stamps. I did use stays on there because it seemed like those, I meant to say gray stickers. It seems like those gray stickers have a bit of a sheen finish to them, and I wasn't sure if regular ink would smear, so I just used my stays on. It says carpet gone in the white part of that sticker. And now on this last card, it's really just a decorative card. I really like how those pretty paint swatches kind of look, not swatches, but little brushes of paint look there. So I'm not going to do too much at all. Now I decided to do a little bit of splatter, and I'm going to do something different. For my gold splatter today, I will be using Vicky Bouton's Gold Glaze, which is something I picked up at Crop and Create, and I'm going to do a fair amount of gold splatter all over this page. So I just, as you see, I scooped some up with my paintbrush, added some water. Don't worry, it gets a little milky looking, but it's not going to finish milky at all. It's going to be beautiful and golden and gorgeous. Wasn't too sure if this would work, but here we go. I am doing a combination of splattering with my paintbrush and also just flicking it off of the acrylic block that I mixed the glaze up with some water. That's just plain water. I keep a little spray bottle of water in my scrap room. I'm just going to splatter on this card too, but I've already put it together, so I'm going to just cover up the elements that I scrapbooked and just flick, flick, flick. And there you go. And I am cleaning, just using a paper towel to dry up the splatter in between so that I don't get the back sides of any of these cards. Just wanted a little bit in the bottom corner of that one. And on this one, I'm going to cover the tag and do a little bit more. I'm trying to concentrate the splatter in the middle of this one where the tag is. So it looks like it's behind the tag, coming out from behind the tag, even though I did it last. And again, I'm kind of focusing the splatter in the bottom part of this card as well, where the phrase is. And that phrase just says, be all there. It's just kind of a generic filler card that I wanted to use there, more for adding that color there, because it picks up on the color from the other side. Now here's one of my busier tags, or my busier cards. And so I'm splattering all over this one, trying to just add that detail of the gold glitter. Not glitter, but glaze. A little bit on the bottom corner of this one as well. And there we go. The last thing that I have to do is find a sticker to go right here. And that's the one I'm going to use. That's a Maggie Holmes gold puffy fabric heart thing. I'm going to take the little foam piece off because with Project Life, I try to make my embellishments as non-dimensional as possible. This one is fairly dimensional already, so it doesn't need foam as well. And then I'll just, the last thing I have to do is just glue that card down to that piece of paper bag. And then while I was looking for stickers for where that heart would go, that gold heart, I saw these cat stickers that Giselle sent to me. And so there's a cute little Siamese one on there. So I decided to put him on top of the little rainbow half circle thing. Just makes that card a little bit more whimsical and fun because he's a cute little cartoony cat. And I'm going to add that little arrow there. I'm basically just trying to use as much of these chipboard pieces as possible. I don't want to have too many leftovers. This black piece of chipboard that says "Love This Moment" with the baby guppies is perfect for that one. That I find that card is kind of the most obviously busy of all of these cards, and that black sticker just provides a little bit more grounding for it. It was feeling a little random, like floaty or something. It needed something black on it, so that did the trick. Speaking of black, here I am with my enamel dots, which I painstakingly sorted by color and put them onto these little cards right before I stopped scrapbooking. I invested all these hours doing this, and then I didn't scrapbook for a year and a half after that. But I now have them all sorted, and so it's nice to use them now. I know when I need a black enamel dot, I don't have to search through 10 gazillion packages of enamel dots to find one that has black on it. So I'm just putting these in various places around the page. I tend to be very, very selective with my enamel dot use. I just don't have a lot of confidence for my own ability to choose where they go, so I just tend to not use them very much. But I do like them here. The little kind of touches of black every here and there is very nice. So here are some close-ups. I really love this spread. It was so much fun to make, and I really love how it looks. I think I'm going to err towards the side of doing less embellishing and more stamping on my pages from now on. I just really like the look of the cards that I have here that are more minimalist. And so I'm going to give that look a try. My Project Life cards have typically been quite busy and mix and match and not very coordinated looking. So I think I'll try a couple of pages coming up that are a little bit different for me. In the meantime, you can check out some of these videos. Take care and have a really great scrappy week.